Hello, it's me, Mr. Navan. I'm about to tell you about MEMS, microelectronic mechanical systems. Yeah, have you ever seen Ant-Man? Yeah, me neither. Me neither. MEMS, these microelectronic mechanical systems, are made with a technique called microfabrication. How does that work? Well, you use certainly microscopic tools to, modify metals and certain components. Sometimes it's silicon substrate, a lot of times, other kind of, metals. And most of these microscopic miniaturized structures, some of them can be simple, others can be extremely complex. Sometimes they will be simple structures, just because they do not have movement. And other times they will be extremely complex. They will be extremely complex just because they have a mechanical system work. They're tiny, they are about, Ant-Man, the version, but in electronics. 1 micron. You know what kind of micron it is? It's really tiny. You know how tiny can it be? If it is 1 micron, it's about 1 multiplied with 10 elevated to -6. You know how tiny is that? It's really tiny, actually. You cannot see it with your eyes. That's the reason why they make it most of the time with microscopes. And it's true microscopes, not that thing that you can buy in the $15 store. Sometimes the extremely complex structures need, integrated electronics that can work as the brain that moves these mechanical systems. They are minuscule, they are miniatures. That's the reason why they call them miniaturized structures, for that kind of reason. And in the future, it is looked to make different kind of sensors that will work by the hand of one integrated circuit. They will be one integrated circuit, a tiny, let me show you. Science, mate, science! You've never seen something as small as this? Yes, you have, probably. It's something obvious, but I need to make this special, so I can have a cute grade. They can be miniaturized structures, comparators, sensors, actuators. And of course, the most important, beautiful thing about them, microelectronics. As I was telling you before, the idea is make everything into one integrated circuit, since they are so goddamn tiny. 1 micrometer, 1 micron. You can fits it anywhere. And that's the idea, because they have proven by the magical knowledge of MNX. I know that in fact can sense a bunch of things. That's the thing, they are sensors. Of course, they can measure mechanical, chemical, biological, magnetical phenomena, which is amazing for 1 micrometer. Taking that into account, MEMS are evolving really fast. Actually, they try to make a plane, an aircraft. They put these tiny itty-bitty sensors, these microscopic sensors, these miniaturized structures, miniaturized electromechanical structures in the sides of the aircraft, and this magical thing happen. They will capable of controlling just with a little thing. The amazing thing about MEMS is that as I told you, they are building really fast, so in the future it will be just economic in the way that you use, your resources, metal, polymers, and all of these things. Science is the tiny size. The only thing that will still be extremely expensive is the manufacture. That is really expensive, not gonna lie. Because of the microfabrication that I told you, this doesn't come to be nanotechnology, but it is close. They cannot actually separate it exactly. They are separated, certainly. Nanotechnology is just about modifying the atoms and the molecules of certain element, while our microsystems are more about the physical influence of the environment in them. They can be sensors of other kind of thing. For look yourself, these tiny actuators can be stimulated by the entire environment. Yeah, perhaps even MEMS have this functionality of optical sense. They can understand certain variations in the environment. I need to make you understand this is physics applied to microscopic structures, and sometimes, of course, with integrated circuits, there is always a big advance, like everything. Science fiction is today. A lot of these MEMS are categorized as transductors. Yeah. Transductors. I need to fucking learn how to speak English properly. Which means they can convert one kind of energy to another kind of energy. You know what that means? They can translate. If you know how to use physics, certain electronic components in certain way, you can make a language that you can understand. are more likely a computer and it can translate you to your language. So microsensors, microactuators, microstructures and microelectronics are all joined to make this magical thing called MEMS. There is a biggest probability of making a bunch of systems, like a system in which you know you have certain fluid in one thing. It can fail a lot of chemical phenomena, magnetical phenomena, optical phenomena, and a bunch of stimuli for the outside world. You can make certainly one kind of systems in which it can feel the pressure of certain liquid, fluid or any kind, and with one bomb it shouldn't be big, making micro. You wanna be Ant-Man, man? Just use your brain. So, with a mini pump, you can pump out all the fluid. It's one example of one of the old things that you can do. Thank you, MEMExchange.org, for all this valuable information. In the future, it is done to merge integrated circuits with these microstructures with silicon substrate and make one common thing that will work massively. And as I showed you before, it will be extremely tiny, portable and things. Manufacture is hard. Of course, these microelectronics were made by the USA, since you know everything USA. I'm looking at you, FBI agent. The first cases of these MEMS, microelectronic mechanical systems, were developed by the Research Laboratory of Electronics on the MIT. You know, that institution that only geniuses can access to, since they have the knowledge of the world. Dr. Stark is me. MNX, your trusted microsystem foundry, is the sponsor of this video. I'm joking, nobody will sponsor me ever. I cannot express how amazing these systems are, and as you can see in my facial expression, they are really fun. As you can see in my face, sometimes I'm extremely goddamn expressive, joyful and emotional about these things. I actually love memes too. You know why? Because it will mean that most people will have access to a bunch of technology in the future. Of course, there is a big problem about the economy. What is amazing about MEMS, as I told you, is the physics that apply on this. Taking into account they are just micrometers, you know, microns. Extremely tiny things are capable of interaction with the physical world in certainly the same way that our atoms, molecules and components of our body are capable of interacting. This kind of physics are applied to a system so tiny in such a way that you can make magic, man. Someone understand is like if you try to open up your smartphone and you know, make resistance by resistance and every kind of conductor you have been using here, including the gold and everything, it will be hard. But you know, the coolest thing about this is how manufacture can be extremely expensive. You need a bunch of energy and investment, but you use less resources. And with the advance, that kind of manufacture will be just cheaper in the future. So more people will have access to this thing. That will be amazing. A world in which everyone can have access to certain technology without all the pain that costs to get out those resources. And since the resources of the earth are not infinite, doing this kind of things of miniaturizing every kind of technology, even ourselves, like the outsourcing movie, it was kind of cool, but I prefer Ant-Man, even though I have seen it once. They are miniaturized or more likely shrunk electromechanical structures. Remember that, kids, in the future your cell phone will be like 1 inch and you will see how amazing it is.